Hey there, my wedding planning friends, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for clicking on my video. I'm Emily Summer. I'm a wedding planner based in Montana, and I make weekly videos on wedding planning tips and advice. As the years go on, we see wedding trends come and go. We see wedding traditions kind of come and go. So for a really long time, and probably growing up, there's certain things about weddings that I feel like was kind of just ingrained in us, and what is traditional and what you are kind of expected to see and do at a wedding. And in recent years, weddings have taken on a little bit more of a even more personal feeling, which, you know, as they should be. I feel like they should be reflective of who you are and who you guys are as a couple. And so we are seeing a lot of shifts when it comes to kind of the traditional way to do things at weddings. And with that comes kind of these unspoken rules that come with planning a wedding and having a wedding. And so today we're going to talk about the rules that you can totally break at your wedding. So the first one is that you have to invite everyone that you know. I think the guest list is one of the most difficult parts of planning a wedding, especially in the beginning stages, because you don't know too much at that point. You probably don't have a lot of things booked at that point, and you shouldn't until you have your guest list solidified. But I think that there's this notion of like, you're supposed to invite everyone that you know, everyone that's in your life. And a lot of times your parents have a large influence in that. And for a while we had like these very massive weddings were very common and popular. And that is something that we are starting to move away from and just becoming a lot more intimate and intentional with your guest list. So don't feel like you have to invite every single person that's ever been a part of your life. Your guest list and who was at your wedding should be the people that are currently a part of your life, have some sort of role in your partnership, in your relationship with each other, know both of you. And like when it comes to family, this can go as deep as you want it to be, and don't feel like you have to invite every single person, or every person whose wedding you've been to, you have to invite them to yours. And all of those little nuances that we kind of tell ourselves that we have to do at our wedding. Similarly, number two is putting a lot of pressure on who to have as part of your bridal party, or even having a bridal party altogether. You can completely opt out of this. This is something that I'm seeing a lot more of in recent weddings, is just not even having a wedding party at all, not having bridesmaids, not having groomsmen, or maybe just having one on each side. But definitely taking the pressure off of who needs to be in your wedding. Just because you were a bridesmaid for some girl 10 years ago and you guys don't talk anymore doesn't mean you have to ask her to be your bridesmaid because you were hers. Release the pressure of having to please everybody. This is your wedding day. If you don't want to have anybody, you don't even have to have a wedding party at all. Three is that the bride has to wear white, and like a bright white. Very commonly wedding dresses these days are not even bright white. They're more like ivory or off-white. Obviously, a lot of this is a personal preference, but a non-bright white tends to be more flattering on a lot of different skin types as well. We're seeing a lot more incorporation of color, like actual color, in wedding dresses as well. And again, this comes down to personal preference when it comes down to it, but the whole white rule we can really do away with. Number four is having to follow a specific timeline or format for your wedding. There is a particular timeline that I recommend that I think is very easy to use and kind of use as a structure and an outline if you have no idea how to structure your day. But we don't need to pigeonhole yourself into that particular timeline. If you want to have like a cocktail hour before your ceremony even starts, I'm seeing that. If you want to do dinner before your ceremony even starts, that's something I've seen a little bit recently. It's really up to you and how you want to structure your day, and you don't have to follow any specific rule when it comes to the actual timing and the outline and the structure of your wedding day. Number five is that your wedding party has to all match each other. This goes for not only the attire that they're wearing, like all wearing the same exact bridesmaid's dress, or also matching each other numerically. So you don't need to have the exact same number of bridesmaids as you do groomsmen. Obviously visually that looks nice for photos, but that's definitely not something that you have to do. I see it all the time where there's more bridesmaids than groomsmen, or vice versa. Number six is having separate sides for the bride and groom, primarily at the ceremony. This is something that I hardly ever see anymore. And that was a very traditional way of doing things, and pretty much always in a church where you have like the bride side and the groom side. And I think that's just, it's such a weird concept to have, because the whole point of a marriage is like the union of this couple. And so why are we trying to separate both sides? I don't know. So that is something that you can absolutely do away with. Number seven is having a cake, or having a cake cutting where you actually like do a ceremonial cutting of that cake. We're seeing a lot more incorporation of different types of desserts, and having just like a small cake for you guys to cut if you still want to incorporate that. or just doing away with cake altogether and doing something else for dessert. It's very traditional to have a wedding cake, but if you're not cake people, if you don't love a cake, don't have a cake at your wedding. Number 8, bouquet and garter toss. I know I've talked about this before, and this is something that is honestly pretty rare for me to see now. I hardly ever see a garter toss for one. Couldn't tell you the last time. Bouquet toss is kind of hit or miss. I feel like it's like 50-50 now. And a lot of it depends on like the stage of life that my couples are in, or like how old they are. Because a lot of times brides will choose to not do a bouquet toss or do something different because they're like, well, there's no single women at my wedding, so why would I throw the bouquet and single out the one girl that came here without a date? So that's just something that we aren't seeing nearly as much either. And again, personal preference. That goes for any of these. Like if you want to do any of these, 100% do them. But these are just common traditions that we are kind of seeing go away a little bit. Number 9 is that the bride and groom can't see each other until walking down the aisle. This one is very much a preference. A first look is something that has become very popular in the last decade, and that is essentially the idea that you have this special moment with your partner before the ceremony starts where you guys see each other. And so that is what's called a first look. So you are technically seeing each other before you walk down the aisle, but it's still like somewhat of a ceremonial moment where it's just the two of you. It's typically documented, and you have that special alone time prior to walking down the aisle. These days, I also see couples opting out of like doing the whole separate thing the night before, spending the night together the night before, getting ready with each other even the next day. So again, totally personal preference, but I think we can stop telling ourselves that it's bad luck to see the bride on the wedding day. Totally understand not wanting to see each other and kind of have that special moment in separation beforehand. I like that as well, but that is a rule that we are seeing breaking a lot more. Number 10 are favors, guest favors. Again, this is another one I've talked about a decent amount, and it's just something that, like, don't do it just for the sake of doing it. I think for destination weddings, having a guest favor is nice and something that kind of has to do with the location that you're getting married in, or something personal for you guys as a couple that your guests can take home with them. But don't just do a guest favor. Don't give them Hershey Kisses or Jordan almonds or whatever just to like have that incorporated into your wedding decor or into like your wedding practice for that day. And finally is having a grand entrance or an announced entrance into your reception, like whether that's getting rid of it altogether, or I'm seeing a lot more couples do an entrance into their cocktail ceremony or their cocktail hour instead of into the reception once everyone's seated. And this just feels a little bit more like casual. They're able to mingle with their guests prior to going into dinner, and then it's not this huge lull where they're taking pictures the whole time and they don't even get to like interact with their guests in a very more casual mingly setting before actual dinner happens. So you can do away with the grand entrance altogether, or if you want to like do it at the very beginning of your cocktail hour or during your cocktail hour, or not at all. Or maybe I've seen couples that will do like an outfit change into their reception, like during the reception after dancing has already started, and then they'll do like an entrance back in with their outfit change. That is always super fun. So there's flexibility here. So when it comes to planning your day and deciding what you want to have incorporated as far as traditions and kind of these standard wedding rules go, it really comes down to your own personal preference, what makes sense for you individually as well as you as a couple. And these are the most common rules that we can now break when it comes to planning a wedding. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe to get weekly videos on wedding planning tips and advice, and we'll see you next week.